Hello dear friends, welcome back to my channel. Before we start the lesson, don't forget to like, subscribe, share to my channel for more lessons. Alright, let's get started. Cognizant, meaning being aware or having knowledge of something. For example, she was cognizant of the risks before making her decision. Cohesion, meaning uniting, becoming one. For example, the team's cohesion helped them complete the project successfully. Coincide, meaning to occur at the same time. For example, our vacation dates coincide with the school holidays. Collapse, meaning to fall down or break down. For example, the old bridge began to collapse after the heavy rain. Collide, meaning to hit one another with a forceful impact. For example, two cars collided at the intersection during rush hour. Commitment, meaning dedication to a cause or activity. For example, her commitment to her studies helped her achieve excellent grades. Community. The community came together to support families affected by the storm. For example, the community came together to support families affected by the storm. Conceal, meaning to hide. For example, he tried to conceal his disappointment with a smile. Conflict, meaning a disagreement or fight. For example, they resolved the conflict through honest communication. Constrain, meaning to restrict or repress. For example, limited resources constrained the team's ability to finish the project quickly. Contemplate, meaning to consider thoughtfully. For example, she sat quietly to contemplate her future choices. Redundancy, meaning the state of being unnecessary because something is repeated or no longer needed. For example, having two people do the same task when one person is enough is an example of redundancy. Legendary, famous and admired because of great achievements, qualities, or events. For example, Michael Jordan is considered a legendary basketball player because of his achievements and impact on the sport. Amateur, meaning a person who does something for enjoyment or as a hobby rather than as a profession, not highly skilled or professional. For example, someone who plays soccer for fun on weekends instead of as a career is an amateur player. Meaning a list of items or topics to be discussed or done during a meeting or event. For example, the agenda included discussing the budget, project updates, and future plans. Subsidy, meaning financial support or money given by a government or organization to help reduce costs or support an activity. For example, a discount on electricity bills funded by the government is an example of a subsidy. Abandon, meaning to leave something or someone behind completely, or to stop doing something. For example, the hikers were forced to abandon their trip due to bad weather. Thereby, meaning as a result of that, by doing that. For example, he followed the rules, thereby avoiding any penalties. Primitive meaning, simple, old-fashioned, or not developed compared to modern standards. For example, a basic shelter made from branches and leaves is an example of a primitive structure. Contradict, meaning to give the opposite opinion. For example, saying you love healthy food while eating junk food every day is an example of contradicting yourself. Contribute, meaning to give something, usually money or time, to a common fund or cause. For example, donating money to a charity is an example of contributing to a good cause. Convey, to make known. For example, a smile can convey happiness without using words. Forensic, meaning related to the use of scientific methods to investigate crimes and find evidence. For example, analyzing fingerprints to identify a suspect is an example of forensic work.